So there I was, 48 years old, sitting in my office at midnight reading the email that was about to change everything. 12 years with this company. 12 years of covering their asses. And Bryant Caldwell just decided to pay me exactly nothing for it. The subject line said annual performance bonus confirmation, but when I clicked it, all I saw was a big fat zero. Not reduced, not delayed. $0 and 0 cents, with Bryant's digital signature right there at the bottom like he was proud of it. I'm Warren Cole, by the way. 48, worked 8 years in the Marines before I traded my uniform for this corporate bullshit. Started at Cellcore Dynamics and Security, worked my way up to Director of Risk Protocol. Sounds fancy, right? Really, I'm just the guy who reads 1,000-page government documents so billion-dollar product launches don't get us fined into bankruptcy. Not glamorous, but somebody's got to do it. Now here's the thing about being a Marine. You learn that honor means something. You serve with integrity, you get respect back. You watch your buddy's back, he watches yours. Simple deal. I brought that same attitude to Cellcore, thinking corporate America worked the same way. Turns out I was wrong about that. Bryant Caldwell's everything I learned to hate during my time in service. Harvard MBA trust fund kid probably got deferments while guys like me were getting shot at in places you can't pronounce. He's what we used to call a rear echelon motherfucker. All polish, no substance, but somehow always ending up in charge. When my wife Sarah got sick 3 years back, I made her a promise. Tyler was 16 then, smart kid, good with his hands, but we knew college wasn't going to be easy money-wise. Our boy's going to have opportunities we never had, I told her during one of those long nights at the hospital. She squeezed my hand and said she believed me. That promise became my mission after the cancer took her. Tyler's 19 now, pulling double shifts at some warehouse while taking classes at community college. Kid never complains, but I see how tired he gets coming home at midnight with a backpack full of used textbooks. He's got his mom's brains and thankfully didn't inherit my attitude problem. The bonus money? That was supposed to be Tyler's ticket out. Transfer to a real 4-year school, maybe even the engineering program he talks about. 12 years of perfect compliance records, 0 regulatory violations, billions in penalties prevented. I'm not the schmoozing type. Don't play golf with executives or kiss ass at company parties. I'm the guy who keeps the lights on while everyone else takes credit. But here's what really pissed me off about that email. Bryant had the balls to include a note about new efficiency standards and streamlined compensation. Corporate speak for we're screwing you and calling it innovation. Guy who inherited his way into the CEO chair was lecturing me about efficiency. I sat there staring at that screen, thinking about all the nights I stayed late cross-referencing international compliance laws while Bryant was probably at some charity dinner getting his picture taken. Thinking about when I missed Tyler's high school graduation because of an emergency licensing review that saved Cellcore from a $600 million penalty. Thinking about Sarah asking me to spend more time at home and me always saying just one more project, honey. Then I scroll down and there's this company-wide email. Subject line, Cellcore's core values, family first. Some PR bullshit newsletter full of stock photos and corporate buzzwords about work-life balance. Family first, right. Same company that called my dedication beyond measure when I picked work over family stuff now wants to lecture about priorities. My phone buzzes. Tyler texting from his warehouse break. Dad, don't stress about tuition. I can handle community college another year. Night shift pays decent. That's when I got really pissed. Not the hot kind where you do something stupid. The cold kind where you start thinking, Tyler's sacrificing his future because some trust fund baby decided my 12 years of loyalty meant jack. I closed the laptop and walked to the window. 48 floors down, regular people were heading home from honest jobs, probably thinking guys like me in suits had it made. They didn't know about the basement cubicle I started in, or the night school classes I took to learn compliance law, or how I still kept military time and called people sir even when they didn't deserve it. Look, I'm not saying I'm some kind of genius, but when you spend 8 years in the Marines and 12 years reading fine print for a living, you learn to spot trouble coming. And Bryant Caldwell? That guy was trouble from day one. Here's what civilians don't understand about military thinking. You always have a backup plan, especially when you're dealing with command you can't trust. We had a saying, hope for the best, plan for the worst. Bryant never served, which means he never learned that lesson. As I stood there looking out at the city lights, I realized I'd been getting ready for this moment a lot longer than I thought. See, 4 years ago, I got tasked with designing the master compliance system for all of Cellcore's global launches. Everyone else saw it as paperwork. I saw it as insurance. Pretty simple, really. I built in a little failsafe, buried so deep in the code that you'd need weeks to find it. If any essential employee got their bonus zeroed out by executive signature, the whole launch system would lock down. Automatic, no override, no takeback. Wasn't revenge when I wrote it. More like a dead man's switch. Everything runs fine as long as you treat people right. Treat them like garbage, and things get interesting real quick. The beauty of it? Bryant's signature on my bonus email was the trigger. He'd just armed the bomb himself. My phone rang, Tyler calling from work. Hey Dad, saw some news about Cellcore's big launch next month. Sounds huge. Yeah, it's pretty big. Could be worth a couple billion if everything goes right. That's awesome. I bet you're excited to see your work pay off. I almost laughed. Kid had no idea his old man had just been written out of the whole story. We'll see how it goes, son. The email was just the beginning. The real story started 4 years ago, and Bryant Caldwell was about to learn why you don't screw with Marines who know how to code. 4 years back, I got handed this assignment to design the master compliance protocol for all of Cellcore's global launches. Most people saw it as just more paperwork, another layer of bureaucratic bullshit to keep the lawyers happy. For me, it was something else entirely. See, I'd been watching Bryant operate for about 8 years by then. Watched him take credit for work he never touched, throw good people under the bus when projects went sideways, promote his golf buddies over guys who actually knew what they were doing. The man had a pattern, and patterns are predictable. So when I'm building this verification system, I slip in a little insurance policy. Nothing crazy, nothing that would hurt the company unless they hurt me first. Just a simple line of code buried way down in the master protocol. If any employee essential to a launch gets their bonus zeroed out by executive signature, the whole system locks down. Clean, automatic, and invisible unless you know exactly where to look. I didn't call it revenge when I coded it. More like a safety valve. You know how those work. Pressure builds up, valve releases it before something explodes. Seemed reasonable to me that if executives wanted to screw over the people keeping them out of trouble, maybe they should face some consequences. The trigger was tied specifically to CEO-level signatures on bonus documents. Had to be someone with Bryant's clearance signing off on a zero payout for a launch-critical employee. I figured if it ever activated, it'd be because some executive made a real, deliberate choice to screw the wrong person. Turns out I was right about that. Nobody else knew about the clause. Not even Roy Martinez, my best guy in the compliance department. Roy's solid, former Navy, knows how to keep his mouth shut and do the job right. But some things you keep to yourself, especially when they might be needed later. Morning after the bonus email, Roy shows up at my desk with coffee, and this look like he wants to say something but isn't sure he should. We've worked together long enough that I can read his face pretty good. Warren, he says, keeping his voice down. You know, they're never gonna give it back, right? All those years, all that work, they won't ever make it right. I take a sip of coffee. Yeah, I know, so what are you gonna do? That's when I realize Roy's probably seen this coming before I did. Military guys, we tend to spot trouble early. Nothing dramatic. Just gonna keep doing my job. He looks at me for a minute, then nods like he understands something I haven't said out loud. Well, if you need anything, you know where to find me. After Roy leaves, I pull up the old compliance files on my computer. It takes me maybe 10 minutes to confirm what I already figured. My name's been scrubbed from every major document from the past 2 years. Projects I ran, protocols I wrote, safety reviews I handled. All of it now says Preston Wade did the work. Preston's this 32-year-old MBA kid, probably never had a real job in his life. Nice enough, but he wouldn't know regulatory compliance if it bit him in the ass. Uses words like synergy and paradigm shift in regular conversation. Bryant brought him in about 18 months ago as a strategic consultant, and somehow he became the face of our whole department. Looking at those files, I had to give them credit for being thorough. They didn't just erase my work. They created this whole alternate reality where Preston was the compliance genius all along. Even photoshopped pictures from last year's regulatory conference, putting Preston's face where mine used to be. Professional job, probably cost them decent money. But here's the thing about trying to erase someone who built the system you're using. They always miss something. In this case, they missed the one place that actually mattered. The master protocol still had my fingerprints all over it, and more important, my little insurance policy was still sitting there in the code. That afternoon, Tyler calls from his warehouse break. Hey Dad, saw the company newsletter about the big launch next month. Sounds like a huge deal. Yeah, it's pretty big. Could be worth a couple billion if everything goes right. That's cool. I bet you're excited to see your work pay off. I almost laughed. Kid had no clue his old man just got written out of the whole story. We'll see what happens, son. How are classes going? Good. Professor thinks I got real potential for the engineering program if I can transfer next year. I know money's tight, but maybe I could take out loans. Tyler shouldn't have to take out loans. Not when I spent 12 years building the safety net that's about to make Bryant Caldwell rich as hell. Don't worry about money, Ty. Focus on your studies. I'll handle the rest. You sure, Dad? I don't mind working extra shifts. I'm sure. Trust me on this one. After I hang up, I sit there thinking about promises and how they work. I promised Sarah that Tyler would have his shot. I promised Cellcore 12 years of my life in exchange for fair treatment. Only one of those promises was going to get kept, and it wasn't going to be theirs. Computer chimes with a new email. Company-wide announcement about the Athenis grid launch in 30 days. Big celebration planned, media coverage, the whole 9 yards. Bryant's pictures front and center in all the promotional stuff, naturally. Email calls him the visionary architect of Cellcore's future. Visionary architect. Right. Guy couldn't architect his way out of a wet paper bag, but he sure knew how to steal other people's blueprints. I forward the email to Tyler with a note. Might want to watch the business news next month. Could be interesting. Then I lean back and start counting down. 30 days until launch. 30 days until Bryant Caldwell learns the difference between taking credit and taking responsibility. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. You built the final lock. They don't know. Someone else knows about the protocol. Another engineer, maybe someone who worked on system integration. Part of me wonders if I should be worried, but honestly, I'm past caring about operational security. The mission's already in motion. Time to see how that insurance policy works in real life. The office turned into a complete zoo over the next 3 weeks. Banners everywhere screaming 10 days to launch, 6B future in these obnoxious blue letters. Countdown timers on every computer screen, motivational posters on every wall, even the damn coffee cups had the company logo and launch date. You couldn't take a piss without being reminded how much money Cellcore was about to make. Meanwhile, people were literally sleeping at their desks. 18-hour shifts became normal. Guys bringing in sleeping bags, setting up camp in conference rooms like some kind of corporate refugee situation. Place smelled like old takeout and Red Bull, and everyone looked like they'd been hit by a truck. Bryant ate it up, brought in camera crews to film all this dedication and teamwork. Walking around in his perfect suit, stopping at each group of dead, tired workers to drop sound bites about building tomorrow together. Cameras loved it, but I could see what was really happening. These people were burning out fast, and Bryant was calling it leadership. Thursday morning, 10 days before launch, I'm getting coffee when this kid, Alex, just drops. 24 years old, fresh out of some engineering school, smart as hell, but running on maybe 3 hours of sleep. Just keeled over right at his workstation, sent papers flying everywhere. I was closest, so I check on him. Kid's pulse is racing, skin's all clammy, clearly dehydrated and exhausted. People start gathering around, someone yells for help, and then Bryant's voice cuts through everything. Get him some coffee and back to work. We're too close to lose focus now. Coffee. Like exhaustion's just some minor problem you fix with caffeine. Like this kid's body shutting down was less important than Bryant's deadline. I help get Alex to the break room, make sure he gets some water and a place to sit. Whole time I can feel Bryant watching, pissed that I'm wasting time on basic human decency. That's when something clicked for me. This wasn't just about my bonus anymore. Bryant was treating everyone like machines he could run until they broke. Same way command treats soldiers when they don't give a damn about casualties. Next week, everything ramped up even more. Media interviews, investor calls, demo sessions for tech reporters. Bryant was everywhere, talking about his revolutionary vision and game-changing innovation. Every interview made me want to punch something. Guy was taking credit for systems he couldn't even understand. Roy stops by my desk Friday morning with his usual coffee. Warren, you're way too calm for someone who just got screwed over. I shrug. What's the point of getting worked up? Won't change anything. Come on, man, I've known you 8 years. You're planning something. Just doing my job, Roy. Same as always. He studies my face. Whatever you're not planning, I hope it works out the way you want. That weekend, Tyler calls to check in. Dad, you sound different lately. Everything okay at work? Everything's fine, son. How are classes? Good. Professor thinks I got a real shot at transferring to the engineering program if I keep my grades up. I've been thinking about what you said about not worrying about money. You sure you got it handled? I look out the window at the city, thinking about promises and how sometimes keeping them means breaking other things. Trust me, Tyler. Everything's gonna work out exactly how it should. Okay, Dad, love you. Love you too, son. Monday brought the final week countdown. 5 days to launch. Office buzzed with this nervous energy, like a bomb squad trying to defuse something complicated under pressure. which, when you think about it, wasn't far from the truth. I spent most of that week in the compliance control room, only quiet spot left in the building. Big wall screen showing the timer, clicking down second by second. Engineers running in and out with reports, moving fast, looking like hell. Nobody paid much attention to me sitting there, just watching that countdown like it was the most interesting thing in the world. Tuesday, 3 days out, I hear this conversation that makes me smile. Two managers talking by the coffee machine. We tested every part of the launch sequence, but that final authentication protocol, nobody's touched it since Warren built it. Should we get someone to review it? Probably, but Warren's the only one who really gets how it works. And we're out of time. They move on, but what they said hangs in the air. The final authentication protocol. My protocol. The one with my little insurance policy buried so deep that even the best programmers would need weeks to find it. Wednesday, email comes about the launch day press conference. Full media coverage, live streaming, major investors showing up. Bryant's going to be on stage with the prototype, explaining how his visionary leadership made it all possible. Email includes a seating chart. My name's not on it. That afternoon, Preston walks by with a stack of presentation materials. Kid looks nervous, which is smart. He's got no idea what he stepped into by taking credit for my work. Big day coming up, he says, trying to sound confident. Sure is, I tell him. Hope everything goes according to plan. Something in my voice makes him give me this weird look before he walks away. Poor kid probably thinks I'm just bitter about the bonus. Has no clue he's about to become the face of the biggest screw-up in Cellcore history. Thursday night, 24 hours before launch, I'm sitting in my apartment thinking about the difference between justice and revenge. Justice is what happens when systems work right. Revenge is what happens when they don't, and someone decides to fix things personally. I built my whole career on making systems work properly. Seemed fitting that my exit would show what happens when they don't. Friday morning launch day. Time to see if 12 years of patience was worth it. Launch day hit like Christmas morning for rich kids. By 7 a.m., financial news was already running headlines about Cellcore's game-changing breakthrough and stock prices jumping 11% before markets even opened. Analysts calling it the deal of the decade. Investors flooding Twitter with predictions about record profits. TV anchors describing Bryant as the genius who never fails. Inside the building, all those dead-tired employees suddenly had energy again. People who'd been dragging ass through weeks of 18-hour days were walking taller, smiling more, convinced all that suffering meant something. Hope's a hell of a drug, and Bryant knew exactly how to deal it. I watched from the back as he worked the lobby like some kind of corporate celebrity, shaking hands with reporters, posing for pictures with investors, his suit perfect, his smile practiced. Camera crews following him around like he was about to cure cancer. Today, he tells anyone with a microphone, Cellcore changes everything. The auditorium filled up fast. Giant screens showing countdown timers and slick promotional videos. Spotlights sweeping around like we're announcing the second coming. For maybe 10 minutes, it looked unstoppable. Then one of the overhead lights started flickering. Just once, twice, then again. Few people noticed, but the music was loud and Bryant was already taking center stage with that prototype in his hands like it was the holy grail. Crowd went nuts, cameras flashing like paparazzi. Some reporter near the front raises his hand. Mr. Caldwell, where's your director of risk protocol today? Question cut through all the noise. Bryant's jaw tightened for maybe half a second, but he recovered fast. Waved to the crowd, ignored the question like it never happened. Most cameras turned back to him, but I saw a few people exchange looks. Roy was sitting halfway up, and when he spotted me in the back, he gave me this look that said he knew something was about to go sideways. Bryant started his big speech, voice booming, arms spread wide like he's conducting some orchestra. This is the moment we've all worked toward. Years of innovation and dedication coming together. The main screen countdown hit final seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Instead of fireworks and champagne, every screen in the place turned blood red. Sharp alarm tone cut through the music, followed by big white letters. License invalidation. Bonus $0 triggered by executive signature. For maybe 3 seconds, nobody moved. People just stared like they were trying to read Chinese. Then reality smacked everyone in the face and the room exploded. Reporters scrambling for phones, investors yelling into cell phones, engineers on the sides frantically hammering keyboards trying to fix something that couldn't be fixed. Stock tickers on the wall started dropping in real time. Green numbers flipping red faster than slot machine reels. Bryant's face went white as paper. He grabbed his mic and started barking orders. Restart the system! Roll back the files! Do something! But but his commands just echoed around a room full of people who couldn't undo what was done. Preston jumped up near the front, voice cracking. "Warren warned us about this years ago. He built protection into the system." Heads turned toward me. Suddenly the ghost they tried to erase was visible again. Not because I made a scene, but because the system itself was talking for me. I stayed put, hands folded, watching Bryant's empire collapse in real time. Panicked investor calls jamming the phone system. Employees staring at laptops as dashboards crashed and months of work vanished. Some people crying. Sound was raw and ugly against those ringing alarms. Took about 30 minutes for Bryant to storm into my control room. Perfect suit was wrinkled now, tie loose, composure completely gone. Had my bonus email crumpled in his fist. "You did this!" he shouts, slapping that paper on my desk. "You sabotaged everything." I look at the email, then back at him, calm as Sunday morning. "You signed it, sir." "I just followed protocol." Room went dead quiet. Bryant's rage kind of faltered as what I said sank in. He'd triggered his own trap. His signature was the weapon. His arrogance pulled the trigger. His empire was the target. Outside, chaos kept growing. Some reporter's voice carried through the door. "Mr. Caldwell, do you still want to wish your team good luck?" Hit like a lightning bolt. Crowd outside erupted in this bitter laughter, sharp and mean. Bryant froze as the irony landed harder than any punch. His own catchphrase turned into a punchline on live TV. My phone buzzed. Tyler texting, "Dad saw the news." "You okay?" I typed back. "Better than I've been in years, son." Another message from Roy. "Quietest explosion I ever saw." I stood up and started packing my stuff. Bryant tried to say something, but there wasn't much left to discuss. His company was falling apart not because I attacked it, but because the truth was built right into the system he thought he owned. Walking out past the cameras and shouting and the wreckage of Bryant's reputation, I felt something I hadn't in years. Not satisfaction exactly, more like mission complete. Target down, time to go home. Rain outside was steady and cool. Didn't look back. Didn't need to. Bryant would spend the rest of his career explaining how some middle-aged Marine from Ohio outplayed his whole executive team with a few lines of code and 12 years of patience. Tyler called as I reached my truck. "Dad, what happens now?" "Now? Now I keep that promise I made to your mom." "Pack your stuff, son. We're gonna look at some real colleges." "Seriously? Dead serious." Turns out your old man's pretty good at long-term planning. That night, Tyler and I filled out transfer applications while news channels replayed Bryant's disaster every hour. Kid kept looking at me like he was seeing someone new. "Dad, did you really take down a whole company?" I thought about it. "Nah, son. I just made sure the system worked the way it was supposed to. Sometimes that's all it takes." Few months later, Tyler got accepted to 3 different engineering programs. Full ride to his top choice. Turns out when you plan something right and wait for the right moment, things work out exactly how they should. Bryant, last I heard he's working for some startup in Austin. Lot less money, lot less ego. Sometimes justice doesn't roar. Sometimes it just waits quietly for idiots to hang themselves.